Alright, so this deck right here is just a Law of the Normal deck, where I'm trying to get 5 face-up level 2 or lower normal monsters in order to send all cards on the field in both players' hands to the graveyard, and then maybe go into some Link plays with it. They still haven't really released a new Link monster that allows me to OTK from 8,000 life points with 5 monsters in the field, 5 level 2 or lower normal monsters, but, you know, sending all of your opponent's cards to the graveyard and then setting up a field yourself is still pretty effective. Okay, so final thoughts on this deck. Originally, I built this deck around this one card, which I'll show at the very end of this. And then I tried to incorporate tokens into it because I mentioned Law of the Normal in one of my videos, one of my top 10 videos, and people kept saying like, oh, Law of the Normal isn't that hard to activate because you can just use tokens for it. Which, yeah, is true. So I tried it out. But anyways, this card right here came out, Breaking Point of the Normal. And it has the Law of the Normal people on it. So I was like, oh, I'm going to totally use this in a Law of the Normal deck because it allows you to special summon a whole bunch of cards from your hand. But it's a lot easier to just special summon the cards in order to activate Law of the Normal, like either directly from the graveyard with Tri-Right or from the deck with Treasure Panda. This card was too slow. It being a trap card as well, having to set it and then wait a turn. It just wasn't flying. It was too slow for a deck that needs every advantage possible because it's already so bad. Because the deck revolves around the Law of the Normal. I mean, it can do other stuff. It can go into link plays no problem. Very easily. In fact, that's kind of the point of the deck, is to pull off Law of the Normal and then go into link plays. So it can do stuff. And the Phantasm Spiral engine, it carries the deck very hard, so you can just win without ever using Law of the Normal, which is great, but, you know, the duels are supposed to be entertaining, and it's more fun to watch Law of the Normal finish it off. So I just had a whole bunch of duels in which I could have won easily. Well, not easily, but I could have won if I had just ignored the strategy of Law of the Normal and just went for link plays, and I intentionally played around that, which I always hate doing. I like to build a deck where the entire focus of the deck is around the strategy. But with Law of the Normal, I can't really do that because there's no way to search it out. So I kind of just had to make suboptimal plays in order to set up this card, which makes for entertaining duels, but, you know, it's not really something you'd want to play yourself. That's something I should really stress more with these. I've heard of people who get really mad when they play gimmick decks and lose. Thought I stressed this enough, but a lot of these gimmick decks are not very good, and I lose a lot. All of my deck building is basically to take a deck from winning 1 in every 20 duels to winning maybe 1 in every 10 duels. And if I'm really like on my ball, and the deck is just inherently not half bad, I can maybe win 1 in every 5 duels. Or, you know, God forbid, go into a positive win-loss ratio. That'd be insane. So these decks aren't very good. It's more like I play them so that you don't have to. They're for entertainment more than they are for an actual working thing. But they still do have to be workable to an extent. It's like, these are as good as you're going to get these decks. And they're still not going to be very good in the first place. There's a reason no one's playing these decks to win tournaments. It's because they're not very good. And they lose to the other, well, much more consistent decks. And because I know they're not very good, I build the decks around other, like, tier 3 decks. So I don't have cards to counter the meta because I just assume I'm going to lose to them immediately. I'm trying to play against other gimmick decks, and that's since the deck itself was already kind of gimmicky. I tried out cards that are suboptimal, like Spool Code, which I don't think I ever used in a video. I don't think I ever actually used it in a deck that appeared in the video. I did use it a lot. I think those duels were just like losses or something. Anyways, for the deck, usually when I make Law of the Normal decks, because this is like one of my favorite decks to make, I'll run 4 different types of the level 1 monsters. And for this one, I cut it down to only 9. So I just chose the 2 that are tuners. That way I can go for Needle Fiber plays. And then Proton, because he's Cybers type. That way I can just go for Flame Administrator with him, with just Protons, without having to go into other Link monsters. So the fact that he's Cybers and the fact that these 2 are tuners are the only reason I'm using them. Nothing else really matters with them. The fact that Flamevale Guard has a good defense is more of a plus. It's a bonus. It's not why I'm playing him. If I was just going to play the monsters with good defenses, there's actually a lot of level 1 normal monsters with high defenses, like Charcoal and Pachi. There's a couple of other ones with 2,000 defense. Those ones would be fun, but, you know, they're not tuners or Cybers type monsters. And Treasure Panda works a lot better with level 1 normal monsters, so I'm only using those, even though a lot of the normal works with level 2 normal monsters, because Treasure Panda only needs to banish 1 card in order to bring out a level 1 monster, which is a lot more easier to set up. It's easier to get 1 card in the graveyard than 2, and it's just better for spamming. I think that's it with the deck. It's basically just kind of a normal Law of the Normal deck. As normal as a Law of the Normal deck can be. I would like to try to make one that focuses exclusively on tokens, because I think there was one where Scapegoat kind of fulfilled the requirements for Law of the Normal. So I want to try one that just uses tokens, and I also want to try one that uses the Comic-Hand engine, because that gets spell cards in the graveyard for Treasure Panda easier. Or those videos might never come out if they don't work out, because I've been just scrapping deck ideas rather than putting out videos like I used to in the past. I used to just basically put out every deck that I made, no matter if it was bad or not. I've been a lot more selective now, which means, well, nothing much.